everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of What's Offensive Weekly. This is Scott. Jeff right now is offending people in just large numbers. He's just because he's offending them. He can't even help himself. So we wanted to go ahead once again and let you guys know what you can expect in this episode. Well, in this one, we talk about a topic that's shockingly offensive to some people, Donald Trump. That's right. We talk about Donald Trump, whether or not we voted for him, why we voted for him, what our thoughts have been of him so far. And then I start talking also a little about personally about some of my travels, namely to Germany. When I met some friends there, we started talking about Donald Trump, and it was a really tense conversation because politics do that to people. Politics do that. The happy thing is, at the end of that, is that everybody was fine. We're all friends. We still talk to this day. So it was resolved. I don't want anybody thinking that there was a real problem. There wasn't, but it was tense. I will confess that to you. Also in this episode, we talk about the importance and also the difficulty of talking with people who have really different views than you. It's not easy, but it is worth it if both parties can come to it in the right frame of mind. So anyway, thank you guys once again for listening. Hope you enjoy this episode. Toughen your skin up. It's What's Offensive Weekly. In the Ohio primaries, I don't know about you, I voted for John Kasich. Is it Kasich or Kasich?
Kasich.
I voted for John Kasich.
Okay.
I did not want Donald Trump to necessarily get the nomination.
I voted for Donald Trump
in the primary.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when the actual election came out and he was our guy, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And as I tell people, if this coffee cup could have been running against Hillary Clinton, well, I would have voted twice for the coffee cup.
Sure.
There's no way in my own good conscience, was ever going to be able to vote for Hillary Clinton. And we can get into reasons for that later. But right. It was never me thinking, this guy is great. Did I like some of the things that he said? Did I like that it was going to be dramatically different? I believed I did at the time. But I don't want anybody thinking that I don't acknowledge that he is an idiot.
He is, and don't get me wrong, but first off, he needs to cut out his Twitter page.
Yes.
And that's number one, and I think 50% of the problems would go away.
Agreed.
But in that same respect, why I did vote for him, that tells you something because, looking at all the other candidates, that's how much I thought they sucked.
Can I clarify?
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about the primary right
the
now.
primaries. Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously I voted for him in the general election.
But let me ask you this. Would you say that your vote was a vote for Donald Trump or a vote against Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I would say it was probably more against Hillary Clinton.
And that's what I was. Yeah. And I'll also tell you that I believe that there were many people who cast a vote against Donald Trump, not for Hillary Clinton.
Sure. Yeah. I'll agree with that as well. Yeah.
And I've said this to a couple people. Let's just say Hillary had won, which I fully expected to happen.
Me too.
You're looking at one of the most shocked people in the world.
Absolutely. I'll never forget that day. I got up. I said, fuck it. I'm just going to bed.
Yeah.
I didn't even think, because I just,
yeah.
And then I roll out of bed and I go, oh man. As soon as I got up, my eyes opened, I turned on my phone and I looked and it just said, it's Trump.
Yeah.
And I go, oh my God.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it.
And my joy, again, wasn't because he won, but because she lost. But what I tell people is, let's pretend that she had won. Mm-hmm. Do you think, now, here's the thing. Any president that's going to be in office, there's going to be turmoil. There's going to be, because the press doesn't feed off of good news.
Sure.
Okay?
Right.
They feed off of controversy. They feed off of fiasco. They feed off of whatever. We would have them with her as well. Right. Now, would she have called these in Haitian countries shitholes? No, she wouldn't have. Would she have thought it?
We all think it.
Yeah. Well,
if you asked anybody what if you think that country's a shithole, they'd say yeah. Even the liberals, they'd say yeah. There's a reason that you're not going to fucking Haiti for your anniversary.
Vacation, right? Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But in that same respect, I want to point out that that most of the people who were in that conversation said he did not say shithole, and they say that this guy who came out with that was coerced to do that and in cahoots with somebody from CNN.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to be one of these, hey, that's exactly what happened or whatever. But I'm just saying. But
he really said crap hole.
I could I don't care if he says shithole. I
Yeah.
hope he does, because they're shitholes.
Yeah.
When you piss and shit in the same river that you bathe in, you live in a shithole. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But we can both acknowledge it's not very quote unquote presidential.
I agree.
Okay.
Yes.
And there are some people who, in my opinion, they want him impeached for that. Meaning not just that, but they want him impeached because he's not presidential.
Right.
And my answer to them is, listen, if you're expecting him to be Barack Obama, which is a robot, which thinks about everything before it's said, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Right.
So during these 4 or 2 or 8 years, however long he's in there, this is what you can expect. What I wish he would be doing would be, listen, don't give them so much. Like he is, talk about get out of your own way. Yeah, Donald Trump, you need to get out of your own way. Like that tweet, these tweets, they have to stop. Calling, and see, this is what happens when you don't think about anything. You think when I said the thing about George Michael that I had that plotted out that I'm going to write, all right, and what I'm going to say is, and this poor son of a bitch, you think I wrote that down? No, I just spoke off the cuff and that came out. When he made his statement about the protesters in the NFL, when he chose sons of bitches, like, dude, I do not believe, this is where he is his own worst enemy. I've yet to be convinced that Trump is a racist.
Right.
Okay?
I agree.
Unless this is the new definition of racist. A racist is anyone other than you.
Right.
Because that's who he goes after. Whether it's women, gay or straight,
Right.
whether it is black or white or Asians or Muslim or Christian, he offends them all. So I have yet to be truly convinced by anything that he truly is racist. So that statement is not him thinking to himself, oh, these guys, they're sons of bitches. Like, no, in my opinion, he's speaking off the cuff.
Right. And that's not, I agree, that's not very presidential and everything. But it makes me laugh so hard because it's so unpresidential.
Oh, it really is.
And it's one of those things like it cracks me up because I just know that when he says this stuff, people's heads explode.
They really do.
They do, and they cannot comprehend. You go from, like you said, somebody who's so robotic and so
calculated,
calculated and charismatic.
Yes,
Obama was a fantastic speaker, without a doubt.
Yep.
He was a great speaker. And you go from somebody like that, and then you go to somebody Trump, who can really, I mean, let's be honest, he does talk like a 3-year-old kind of. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
really,
it's great. It's really
going to be
wonderful.
Good,
it's
really
great.
huge.
It's going to be good, huge. And
you're going to beg me to stop winning.
Yeah. Like, I laugh at that stuff, and really that's all you can do is laugh. And on it, to me, you know, it's just proven that the people make the country, not the. I understand,
not
you
the
know,
guy in office,
the president
or
is,
woman in office. Yeah,
right. Good catch.
Yeah,
and you know, it's not. You know, I understand they're kind of like our ambassador type of thing or whatever, but. You know, the figurehead, but it's really the people, and it's up to us. It's not, you know, about the president, and even if he is racist or whatever, I don't know. It's just, you know, everybody just has to be cool.
Did I tell you about my trip to Germany?
9.
I didn't tell you about that.
9.
Well,
Arbeit macht frei.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, God, I'm so disappointed.
Is it curse words? I'm presuming.
No.
Oh, what does it mean?
It means work will set you free. That was
what they told the Jews?
That was a sign above Auschwitz when they walked in. No kidding.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah. You got all fucking somber right there all of a sudden.
I really
did.
did.
Smile on your face, and then you're like, oh, somebody stole the sign. This was, I don't know, a few years ago or so. They still don't know where it is.
Work sets you free.
Work will set you free. That's what was in there when they walked into Auschwitz. They saw it every time.
Wow. Yep. Well, while I was in Germany, I had lunch with some gentlemen, and we sit down, and I'd only met them roughly 2 or 3 hours before.
Okay.
And this might be a cultural thing. Like in Germany, they just love to maybe talk about politics. I know that it's true in South Africa. They love to talk about the politics.
Okay.
They love to hear why and what's going on here. Well, for me, I'm not trying to get into an argument. And so when they asked, I'm trying to figure out how can I basically put an end to this conversation as quickly as possible. And so they asked me, literally, we've known each other for a few hours.
Okay.
And they go, and we sit down and they go, so what do you think of your president?
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I said, I chuckled. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think of yours? Okay.
good.
Because Merkel, there are people that don't really like what Merkel has done with immigrants coming in. Listen, I wish Syria could get resolved. I wish that Aleppo could get resolved. If anybody follows me on Facebook, I posted about, there are these guys, 60 Minutes did a bit on, there are these guys called the White Helmets. I believe it's White Helmets. And literally, when the Syrian leader, that freaking loser, that a-hole that he is, he drops a bomb.
A Syria shithole?
It is right now because of what it's going through.
Okay.
He literally, these guys, and I believe Russia is involved in that as well, supporting it in some way. They'll drop a bomb in a building, sometimes a hospital, because they know there are people in there. Listen to this. Then, as soon as they do, they kind of pull away for a little bit. And they're doing this out of a helicopter or something like that, right? So now these men in the white hats will go in to try to pull wreckage out. That's when they come back. The helicopters wait until the men with the white hats go in, and then they decide to come back and drop it again. So these guys are dying. So Syria is a big problem. What am I even talking about right now?
I don't know. Yours.
No, but I went to Syria. What were we talking about?
Oh, you're about to go to Germany, and the guy's
Germany,
talking
thank
to
you.
the guy.
I said Merkel.
Yeah, Merkel. Yeah.
So those people in Syria are having to see. This is what happens all the time.
Yeah.
So they're leaving Syria, and Germany is just opening the doors.
Okay.
So I asked them, so what do you think of yours? And so I'm really trying to deflect and deflate. There's another D word I'm trying to think about. Not that D word, but there's a DE. Sure. Diffuse. I'm trying to diffuse this conversation because I'm not wanting to something to go, but they won't let it up, dude.
That's DI.
Diffuse?
Yeah,
thank you. Diffuse.
You're right. Bad grammar.
It is.
Yeah.
So they're not trying. I'm trying to do, because I'm not wanting to have that conversation with them, but they won't stop. They won't stop. And I told them basically the same thing I told you. I said, listen, I would have voted for this salt shaker before I ever would have voted for Hillary Clinton.
Right.
It's just that. It's that simple. And so here's where it came down. They go, why? And so why were you so against Hillary? So I'm trying to think to myself, Jeff, on the spot. I'm trying to think, okay, what topic or what issue did she have that can I tell them that will diffuse the situation? We're like, oh, okay, and then we'll move on and we can continue
say, hey,
with lunch.
she hated Germans.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh, that's good.
I said to them, and I thought, and let me tell you something, I chose the wrong topic.
Okay.
All right. I said, I would not vote for Hillary Clinton because of gun control.
Oh, shit.
This was the wrong one. I think I probably could have said abortion, and they're like, oh, all right, well, pass the pizza. But I said gun control.
Germany,
I did.
You didn't have schnitzel?
Not that time.
Dude, motherfucker, like you go over to Germany and you don't even
You're missing the point.
But you don't even have that?
I
the
did
waitresses
eat those,
have
but
those
not at this time.
Those hot tops on? Did the
So,
waitresses dressed up like
I
that?
said...
Were they dressed up like that? You got to paint a picture. They
were
weren't?
not dressed up like the Swiss Miss or those girls in the...
Sucks.
Yeah. So I talked about why gun control, because so now in Germany they have no guns. They have no guns. It's all very, very restricted. In order to get a gun, you have to go through. Same thing in South Africa, because I have the same gun control argument or conversation in South Africa as I had in Germany.
Okay.
And it got to this point, dude, where in this conversation, I became that American. Where it got to a point, where it came to a point like, well, why do you have to have so many guns? Where I'd basically been attacked so long. And understand, I'm already jet lagged. Okay?
Right.
I'm already jet lagged. So my fuse is probably short. And like, why do you have to have so many guns? And this is my answer. Because I want to. That's why. That's the beauty of it. I can have a gun because it's my right to have a gun.
Yeah, it's in our Constitution.
And so they still didn't let up. They still didn't let up. So what did I say next? I go, tell me something. If the Jews had been armed,
oh, you did not.
I did.
You
I said, if the Jews had been armed, do you think this would have went over the same way it did? No. And I made that same point when I'm in South Africa, because these guys are going, why in America does everybody have a gun? I go, let me ask you something. And it's a black guy. I'm like, let me ask you something. When the whites had came in before apartheid, if you'd been armed, how would that have went? Would those 10,000 white people against the millions of black people, you think they would have gotten control if you'd been armed? No. And therefore, when apartheid is on, why do you think they always made sure you never get a gun? Because they knew, listen, when apartheid was about to end, you know the biggest fear that the whites had?
No.
that the blacks were going to kill them all.
Oh.
In South Africa, dude, you're on a continent. You're looking at the state of Tennessee in the United States. Let's think about all the white people are in Tennessee, and the rest of the United States is all black. And that little state of Tennessee has been running the whole continent for their benefit. What do you think is going to happen when all of a sudden we finally go, you know what, Tennessee, you're not in control anymore?
Right.
Okay, so this is why one big reason Mandela saved them, because they had to go to him and go, would you please, we're sorry for keeping you in prison and almost killing you, but would you mind talking the blacks away from killing us? It'd be really great if you could do that. And he did. He did. Yeah. The point is, in Germany, that was the argument that I had. And it got to a point also that they said this. They said this. They go, I said, so what do you think of then Merkel? What do you think of her letting all the immigrants? We think it's really, really good. We think it's really, really important. I go, all right, let me ask you a question. Honest question. Not trying to bait you or anything. Honest question. If the Holocaust hadn't happened, do you think you'd be as apt to do this? And they said, probably not. Yeah. Part of what generates this is you're still trying to appease and to perform penance for the shit you let happen with Hitler.
Guilt.
Yeah.
More guilt.
So don't attribute all of this. Is it a good thing? Yes, I think it's a good thing. I understand the idea, but probably a better solution would be let's freaking fix Syria. So they don't have to come here. Let's go ahead and fix. But we don't want to do that.
Right.
We don't want to do that because that deals with Russia. Let's just let them come over here. Now the truth is, the next day, those same guys came to me and apologized.
Really?
Yeah, they said we're really sorry because they said I'm telling you, Jeff, it was 1 on 6. And I said,
you should have pulled out your gun and just shot him.
Yeah, I said, they said we're really sorry. That was not fair of us to do that, and it was really very basically uncivilized. And I said, well, it's okay.
It's all right. You're German. I expect it.
Yeah, but I don't think that I said anything that offended them. I wasn't trying to offend them, but there are certain points where I'm going to go ahead and make a very hard and strong point, just to please shut you up.
Right.
But it didn't seem to work. None of those points seemed to stop them. They still just kept coming at me. Yes, sir.
Can I use the bathroom?
Yes. I'm not even going to stop recording. I'm not going to record you while you're... So, all right. Go ahead.
All right. Keep talking to yourself.
1 minute 40. 1 hour 40. I don't think we need anything.
I'm back. What did I miss?
Not a whole lot. I said some stuff, though, that was really offensive.
Oh, I'm glad I wasn't here to hear it.
Yeah. So, do you enjoy talking to people that have a different perspective than you on issues?
Talking, yes. Arguing, no.
What's the difference?
Like for instance, on that Medina Debates Politics page, it's people are very and I'm the same way. Don't get me wrong. I'm the internet it's the greatest thing that ever happened. It's the worst thing that ever happened because everybody has a voice, and that's a good thing. But the bad thing is that everybody has a voice. So you know, everybody's very defensive. You know, and it's hard to have like a civilized conversation because it basically just turns into who can burn each other the best, you know, and you know, and a lot of the people that are liberals on there are very, very left wing, you know, like socialist type of crazy, you know, that type of thing, and it seems like that's how you kind of have to be almost, you know, middle of the road people, or you know, then if you're middle of the road, then you're just kind of like, well, you're just trying to play both sides, and you know, that type of, you know, that's kind of what it feels like. But you know, you got, like, for instance, at one time, you know, what I was talking about earlier, where people were leaving water for these illegals to come over and all of this stuff. You know, you had people who were like, hey, I think that's terrible. We shouldn't, you know, just let them die. Who gives a shit? Blah, blah, blah. And then there's other people who are like, oh, you know, it's all, you know, we should
babies,
build
old people.
Yeah, we should build wheelchair ramps for the ones who are handicapped. You know, so you know, it's you know, there's a sensible type of thing going on there that it really is one of those things where both sides should come together and just go, look, this is, you know, we need to be sensible about this. But in the same respect, you know, I just can't understand how, like the whole immigration, I can't understand why you'd leave water for people who are illegally doing things. You know, it's like, you know, you don't leave your door open at night so that people can come in just so, because they might not have as nice of a home as you. Right. I mean, the homeless people, let's let the people in my house. It's fine. Yeah, just, you know, leave water out there and make their way in.
But I can acknowledge that there is a certain human element to what they're doing by leaving that water out there.
Yeah, I get it. They're bleeding hearts and everything and all that. And, you know, so I want somebody to think of the children. But, you know, people, and then the same thing, you know, we're talking about the wall, and they're like, well, they can just buy a ladder at Home Depot. Like, well, you're saying the same people who don't have money to bring water over here can go buy a fucking ladder at Home Depot? I don't think so.
Yeah, my thought for the wall is it going to stop everyone? No, of course not. Yeah, there are going to be tunnels built. There's going to be ladders. There's going to be structures. Whatever. I know that's going to happen, but I also know that it will, in fact, slow it.
This is my thing. This is why in some aspects, and I'm going to stress that in some aspects, I think Trump is a genius. Okay, because just saying this tells them, hey, we're pissed. We don't want you coming over here illegally. I have zero problem. I welcome anyone who wants to come over here legally. Let's make that you know, very clear. That's great. If you want to come over here illegally, no, and he's made it very clear that you are not welcome.
Yeah.
And just by saying this, just by saying that, immigration, the illegals have dropped dramatically from that.
What makes me think about this? Like, I would love to get those people who think there should be open borders or whatever, who think that I shouldn't be upset by that. Like, what I envision is I want to get that group of people in a line at like Disney World to go in. And then I want them to look over at me about 200 yards down the way, just hopping the fence and running in ahead of them and getting on Space Mountain. So, and then say, well, don't be upset by this. I'm not going to pay a ticket to get in. I'm not going to stand in. I'm going to, because as a kid, nothing made you angrier than somebody cutting in line.
Sure.
Cutting in line.
Oh, absolutely. That was the worst. Yeah.
I'm not
Still
saying,
the worst.
Yeah, I'm not saying this equates to that, but in a certain sense it is, because you're saying it right. I'm not bothered by legal immigrants. All right, I'm not bothered by you legally going through the proper procedure and coming in. And if we have to address that if that has to be reformed, that whole process, fine, so be it. My problem is the illegally doing it. That's all I'm saying. It has to be stopped. I'm not saying, and for stupid people to say, well, the wall's only the wall. Listen, and when they start trying to compare this to the freaking Berlin Wall,
right?
This is where I want to bash someone, because that was a wall to keep people in.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Ours
Huge
is
difference.
huge difference. Right now, there were this couple that have 29 kids or something out there shackled.
Right.
They were keeping their kids as hostages. Because I lock my front door is not to keep my kids in.
Right. Sure.
Okay. So don't get these two things confused. And listen, if they weren't coming over illegally, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Tell you one more thing. If Democrats, going to be offensive when I say this, you're going to hate it. If Democrats knew that every illegal immigrant was going to vote Republican, that wall would be up.
I agree.
It'd have been up under Kennedy.
And to your Disney standpoint, that's part of the same thing with the DACA thing. Like all these Dreamer kids.
Yeah.
Who oh well, they were just kids when they came over, and we can't kick them out. Well, if I illegally took my kids into Disney World, would they kick me out or me and my kids?
Yeah.
Or they just let my kids like run around in Disney World?
Yeah.
That's fine. I understand. I get it. You can't just send somebody who's been here for 20 years or 25, they came over when they were 5, over to Mexico with no family, no nothing, and just go, here you go, and swim. No, you can't do that.
But this just happened just last week. That dude I think it was in Michigan. I was just reading it yesterday. Somebody brought him over. He's been here 30 years. He's married with kids. His wife and kids are American citizens. Right. They stay. They put him on the plane. He's gone. He's back in Mexico, staying with an aunt. And The View, the TV show The View, they're going to go ahead, of course, interview him and have the kids here weeping and him on FaceTime or whatever, So, there's a part of me that this really does suck.
But if he was married, couldn't he stay?
No, he couldn't stay because I don't know why he couldn't stay. Okay. But, and his case is really very, very screwed up because apparently for these 30 years, he's been in contact with immigration. And basically it's not like they didn't know he was here. It wasn't like he was hiding somewhere just working as a landscaper somewhere. He was legitimately doing things. And then just here in the last few months, something happened. And all of a sudden he went in for his monthly meeting. And they're like, yeah, you got to go back home. What? So he literally, you or anybody else probably investigate that. But sure. it is a little crazy. And I do understand. I don't know about you. I can remember when I was younger, I was probably in high school. There was this kid, Julio, I can't think of what the kid's name was, but he was here.
It's pronounced Julio, not Julio, you
whatever.
Racist bastard.
He had come over here from Cuba.
Cuba.
And I remember federal agents going into that house because it was all in the media. What's going to happen with this kid? Is he going to be taken back? And I remember them busting in. And of course, the media is there taking a picture of this dude full flak jacket and weapon.
Is this Elian Gonzalez?
Elian Gonzalez. Thank you. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Okay.
Remember that? I can remember that picture of him crying.
The way you were talking, I was thinking this was a kid from your school. You were in school. Yeah, Elian Gonzalez.
I didn't go to school with any immigrants. Are you kidding?
Sure.
It was only the best.
The best white.
This was no shithole school. This was only the best white kids in the world. This is a joke, everybody. Sure. Relax. So, but yeah, I can remember that. But I understood it.
That was under Clinton, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't know at that point in time. I think his family. I can't remember what the scenario. I should probably investigate that. Yeah. But I remember that. And is that what I want? Do I want? All I know is I don't. If you're going to be here, there are certain procedures you need to go through.
Here's the deal. If this is my thing. If you're already here, if they're here. This is what they do. They say, look, you have 10 years. We're going to figure out all the taxes that you haven't paid, and you have 10 years to pay them back, and you have to pass the citizenship test and blah, blah, blah. And these are for kids who were, say, whatever, 17 under or 15 under, I don't know, whatever, and who didn't know any better, basically. Were brought over here by their parents who didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And there you go. You have this time to pay. You have to pay back the taxes. You have to do all this stuff. I'll never ever forget this. This was a few years ago, probably 5-6 years ago, and I was watching TV, and it was some protest about this and about the illegals and everything. I will never forget what this woman said. She goes, "I've been here for 14 years illegally. It's time for some justice."
Okay.
I go, what?
Pack her-
yeah, it is
pack
exactly.
her up,
You're
boys.
right. I totally agree. Get the fuck out. Like who? Like these people. If you're here illegally, that means you're not paying taxes. That means something's not right. You're not contributing the same way that other people do.
Potentially.
Yeah. Most likely.
It reminds. I don't even know. I don't know if it's most likely. It may be. I don't know the statistics, so I won't say. It reminds me of somebody like they were talking about in China, like these kids were getting arrested, and they're like, "I know my rights," and like no, like that's an American thing. You've been watching so much TV,
so
American
much
TV.
cops.
You think that you have those rights? You don't have those rights, right. And then they hit him in the head with a billy club.
Right.
But
that's what I'd like. Oh, right there. That's why I'd love to see a show, China Cops. Oh my God.
There you have it. Another episode of What's Offensive Weekly. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.